Good evening. Um, I'm Morgan Ufoma, the founder and operations lead of Project Genius Hub, and today I'll be walking you through Telegram and the timeline into. So yeah, when you join the group, really, you're going to find yourself somewhere like this in general, where you can say hello, chat with teammates, or greet other participants, and this is the tooling you'll be using for your ground potentializing. In fact, document your entire journey through the hackathon. So your journey starts here. It starts in ground truths, and in ground truths, really, all you have to just write here or document is what you see. So the first phase of the hackathon is the ground potentializing phase, where you have to go out in your community to have a sense of place. Now, forget all the big English. All it really means is you are advised or you're expected to open your door, check the environment where you stay or somewhere close to you, and observe the interaction of people, of how they are related, interrelated, the people, the different professions, just the entire population that stays within that location. Observe them, and what do you see? You write and document what you see. For example, you could write, okay, um, from 7 to 9, workers and students go to school. So that's like rush hour in the morning. If you stay close to the market, you can say, okay, you could document the time the traders come to the market. You could document about the different stakeholders, the distributors, the buyers, the traders, the hawkers. Just write what you see in ground truth. And just stay and just observe and have a sense of place, basically. So that's what this phase talks about. And after you're done writing out the ground truths, you have to go to insights. This is where you make sense of what you have seen. You and your teammates discuss what picture did you what story is your community trying to tell you? What picture can you see? What can you make out of what you have captured from in ground truths? Who are the stakeholders involved? What's the history of the place? You understand? If there's something peculiar happening, you need to understand why it is happening. So this is where you ask yourself questions and you try to draw insights from the observations you've made, while having a sense of place, while observing your community, while taking down the ground truths. And after taking all of this into consideration, you are going to come up with some insights, and then the insights are going to lead you to having a hypothesis or forming hypothesis. It could be one, it could be many. And then the hypothesis basically asks, okay, now that you understand the story, you can see the picture of your community. You could draw the different lines together. You could connect the different stakeholders and really map out a sense of place. You see what they do and the interconnectedness with one another. Then you come here and you ask yourself a question. Really, you get to understand, okay, is there a void? Is there something that should be that is not there, that you could provide to make things happen, make things go more efficiently or more smoothly? How can you make things better, as a question you ask here? How can you preserve lost value, is something you ask here. Is there somewhere along the line where there's waste in the process that you feel, okay, this waste here, this value that's been lost, it can be captured and redistributed to the different stakeholders, and how you can maximize the potential of the place and the stakeholders involved. So these are the things you discuss with your teammates under the hypothesis. And when you are done with this, what you're going to have really just what it is. It is a hypothesis. It's um it's it's basically just an idea that your teammates are going to come up with how to make things better. At this point, you have to go back to your community and discuss with the stakeholders. So you are going back to them to either validate or invalidate your hypothesis, because now you are thinking in isolation. You've observed them, yes, but you cannot come up with a solution without involving them. So you go back to your community and you validate the hypothesis that you've come up with, and that would lead you to opportunities. So once your hypothesis has been validated, you arrive at the door of opportunity. Yeah. And then really what you're going to outline on the opportunities is what value exactly do you hope to create, and how do you hope to share the value across all the shareholders involved? How does your community really, what really do they stand to gain, both the place and the people, from what you're about to build? And then once you're done highlighting all of this, then you have your track. The hackathon, there's no track. You get to make your track from the research your team will be carrying out. And at this point, once you've identified an opportunity, a way, to create value, then you'll be enacting the value you've highlighted, the value you've discovered, and you'll be doing that with timelining. So yeah, you'll be documenting the rest of your journey, and you'll be stating what exactly you're building. First of all, okay, on, let's say, December 1st, our team decided to build maybe a tracking system that tracks kids as they go to school with, let's say, school buses, in such a way where both parents and the school management can see the routes the bus is taking, to avoid kidnappings or security concerns, something like that. You document it here. Then every major decision you agree on as a team moving forward should be documented here. Your decisions should not be made in isolation. You should always try to involve your stakeholders too. So as you guys are thinking, think with your stakeholders. So actually, you're meant to also include and document your stakeholders' opinions here too. So what do they have to say about what you are building, and how did the stakeholders' feedback shape your team's final decisions? All of it should be documented, and you document as you build till we are done building. So yeah, that's really how the timelining works, and that's how you use the Telegram and the timelining tool. Okay, up next, I'll be trying to give you a real life case study, and permit me, I'll be talking off the top of my head, and so cut me some slacks. So let's say, from ground truth here, what do you see? You stay and you observe. Let's say you stay close to a market, so you're observing traders, and you observe that the traders, they come in the morning around 8. That's when they open shop, and then they're closing by past 10 at night. And this is what you observe. So you and your team now will now go and discuss on that insights. First of all, like, what exactly is going on? Why do they close so late? And really, what is the implication of closing so late? And from the why, you go back and you observe again and you ask questions, and then you realize that, okay, they close late because they have food preservation issues. So when the farmers deliver the goods to them, or it turns out that some of the traders too are farmers, so when they harvest and they bring to market, they do not have a way to preserve long term. So they, as much as possible, try to stay in the market till they are done selling their wares. But still, staying that late brings about security concerns, especially in Nigeria today. And from there, you could build a hypothesis. Now, your hypothesis could be in two folds. The first fold could be, okay, how would the stakeholders perceive a shared storage facility where they pull in resources together, and then you have this shared storage facility, and then you create a system where you can track each individual commitment to the facility, and also automate a scheduling, or a process that just an app that automates the whole decision and decision making, and makes the processes smoother for the traders, so they don't have to think, and politics how comes into the entire structure. That could be the first hypothesis. Now, the second hypothesis could be a way of secured transportation when they close late at night. So you observe, how do they move? Do they own private cars? Do they use public vehicles? How do they move? So the second hypothesis could be creating, let's say, a system that connects them with either private car owners who are moving at that time too, or let's say public transport systems who are also trying to make some quick money before they close up for the day. Then at this point, you have to validate both of your ideas, both of your hypotheses with your community. So you have to go back and then share these hypotheses with the traders, and then get some feedback from them. Let's say you, for example, for the one for the shared storage and the system for, let's say, decentralized governance, for example, and you go back and you meet the farmers, and then they let you know that, see, Omo, it's not like you didn't think of having a preservation system. It's just that they've been ravaged by insecurity, and if they decide to build bank on their own, it may lead to greater insecurity for them, and most of them are scared. So they don't want to invite bandits or bad boys to come around and carry all that they have. So in that sense, maybe they confirm that they are more comfortable having a either a private or a public transportation system, and an app where they could request for a ride, and they could get it to easily convey them at the end of the day, because they are very exhausted at night to their their various homes. Then you come to opportunities and you try to highlight what value exactly are you creating for your community, for your stakeholders. Now you could highlight that in this case study, okay, you are trying to solve insecurity issues for the traders, so now they can stay even later if they need to, and then they have a secured means of going home. That's also value for public transport, the public transport workers, so the guys with bikes, keke. Now they have your what you're doing is going to bring them more work, and is going to make the traders feel comfortable staying even later to sell their wares. So this is where you highlight the opportunities, and then you refine your idea. What exactly are you going to build? Maybe you are going to maybe finally decide at the end of the day to build a car pooling system or a keke pooling system, whereby you could shatter a keke for 5 or 4 or 5 traders, and then they could all book together, and then the keke will come and pack all of them together. Bam. So that's what you decide to work on. Now let's say in during the course of building, you also go back and you try to validate the idea, or you validate your project again with the stakeholders to get some feedback. And then when they hear about it, oh, they're like, beautiful, they could work with keke people, because usually it's keke they enter to. But then they come up with a concern that, okay, they want to be able to choose who their seatmates are, or see who their seatmates are, in this case. So they don't sit down with someone who's been trying to poach or steal their customers or something like that. So there will be no in keke brawling or any of those things. So now you have to go back and take that into consideration to give some some power or some control to the users, which are going to be the traders in this case, so they can see or choose who their their seatmates, or who their, yeah, along the keke ride is going to be. So basically, this is just a rough idea, a rough sketch off the top of my head, how you are going to be utilizing the timeline, the telegram and the timeline into throughout your project life cycle. Yeah, I wish you guys good luck, and see you in Nairobi.